So with Kick Legend, today we're going to show you a self-defense pad drill. So we're here at MKG Detroit, and we're talking about how to put self-defense drills on pads that are still fun to hit. So the idea is we want to train the gross motions in a safe and effective way on the pads, but also learn how to apply them in real life.
So what we're looking at doing here is modifying fairly basic boxing structures, techniques, that kind of thing, into open hand shots. So most people know that punching is great self-defense, you know, it's effective, they're heavy shots, you've got a big brick at the end of your arm, but you do run the risk of breaking your hand, where sometimes open-handed shots, whether it's the heel of your palm or a slap, something like that, may prove more useful. As can other surface areas of your hand, so the hammer, the forearm, anything like that. So instead of utilizing the little bones in the hand like this, we're finding other surfaces to hit with. Instead of sticking a jab out and back, or an overhand or cross out and back, the first shot in particular, we really want to make sure we see this as a push. Right? We need good structure here to create more space and maybe move him back a little bit. Mostly this then is a setup for the second shot. So we're not seeing this as going out and back, right? It's fingers pointed to the middle so that we can push him from this range with relative ease. Then this hand is going to come over top and smash. So I'll do this nicely, but 1 and 2. You can do fingers in any direction, right? So you could hit here and hit here like that. I like having fingers pointed more towards the middle for this. I think it's a better structure for making space, and then using the heel of the palm like that to drive downward. Now that I've got his momentum, his attention, everything going that way, it should open this line up for the groin slap. For the groin slap, just think of going bowling. Right? That's the angle that you're using here. Just filling the line up the middle. So 1, 2, 3, like that. Now, hopefully this drops his head, and if not, either way, we're just going to fill this line with the overhand right again. So 1, 2, 3, then overhand or overhand. And on the pads, we've been using the hammer, just dropping this downward hammer shot like that. It mostly feels good on the pad. It's a fun one to work out, and it's definitely viable for actual use. Again, making space, right? So not out and back. You don't need to be super fast with this. You're stuffing this there and then replacing it with the other one. Think more of pushing and blinding here. Hitting here, up the middle, hammer down. One last time. 1, 2, 3, 4.
One thing that's nice about the way Kurt likes to turn his fingers is if he turns out to be closer than he originally thought, that converts to forearm or elbow very nicely.
Here, right? So if I miss my mark with the fingers in, then he may get the fingers to the face, not a bad idea. He may get the forearm shot, wonderful idea. I may have to change it and use the elbow, definitely a great shot for self-defense. Same thing here. If I miss this, my elbow and my forearm are still here. If I'm going this way and I miss, I run the risk of being next to him. Now, yeah, I can use that, but since we're just looking at the striking, our margin of error may still suit us for having some sort of shot here and then filling like that.
So for the hold, I am going to give him a little more space than I regularly hold for kickboxing because of the angles and the nature of these tools. So I'm holding double supported so I can push back so he gets to use his structure against some actual mass. And then he's going to hit that one. I'm going to hold this relatively close but allow the follow through to go diagonally in line with my body. I'm going to hold for the groin shot at a low position but for an uppercut angle. A lot of people just hold this horizontally, but I just feel like it's more comfortable to hit at the angle that his arm is actually moving at. And then finally, I'm going to hold this one at a diagonal angle for the hammer fist, forearm shot, or slap. And again, allowing the follow through to go to the outside of my body so he doesn't risk hitting my face.
An important thing to remember too, when you're holding, if you're in the habit of going into punches while somebody's punching, Roy has opinions about a pad holder. If you're in the habit of going into somebody's glove, pat, pat, pat with the focus mitts, really try not to do that when they're slapping. that doesn't take away from how effective the shot can be, but just while you're getting used to how these shapes work, if he's jamming into my wrist and jamming into my wrist, you run the risk of injury before you really learn how to apply the technique. So as Roy said, allow the pad here to follow through like that and just loosen up and let it go. It's much easier to hit and much easier to hold if you do it that way. It's just safer all around.
As Kurt said, this is very fun to hit, right? The very natural, intuitive back and forth motion of your hips, right? Using gravity with those diagonal shots. And so you're using the same gross motions even when you change to more self-defense oriented tools, whether that's having a weapon in your hand or just using the ulna. So this is Roy with Kurt at MKG Detroit. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. Keep shooting that and elevate your striking.